Our plans to add 12,500 megawatts of power to the grid in the next 18 months are underway. That's according to Electricity Minister Kgosientsho Ramokgopa, saying his department is working around the clock to decrease power cuts before the end of 2024. Is this a realistic goal? Also can't help but wonder about the timing around the elections. Well, let's get the thoughts of energy expert Professor Sampson Mampweli, always making time for us this morning. Hello to you, Prof. Good to have you back on ENCA. 12,500 megawatts. It's an awful amount of power. We know the difference it can make for the various stages. Do you think it can be done on that timeline, though, in the next 18 months? Does it seem realistic? Good morning.
Good morning to you and the viewers. I'm not sure about the 12,000 megawatts, but what I know is that Minister Mantashe has been hard at work in terms of bringing in new generation capacity through the various bid windows. And that new generation capacity, we expect that it will be coming online within the next 12 to 18 months. So I agree with his timeline. There are other things that he mentioned, things such as the 1,000 megawatts coming from Mozambique. I have no independent verification of that. I don't know whether Mozambique will be able to give us that much power from which source, because what I know is that we've got 2,000 megawatts coming from the hydro scheme in Mozambique, which is something that has been coming for quite a long time. He talked about purchasing a generator, an old generator or a second-hand generator from Germany. That for me, and we don't have details of where that generator will be located and what fuel it will be using and all that. So there's still a lot of other things that we need to determine. And the biggest problem with that pronouncement is that the ESCOM is not allowed to procure old equipment. It can be 1 year old, it can be 2 years old. They are not allowed according to law. They need what we call approval from the SABS, and also within their own internal controls, they are not allowed to do that. So I'm watching that space to see how that will pan out. However, I agree with its 18 months, and I know that there's quite a lot of new generation capacity that will come online within the next 18 months. There's a lot of work that was done by Minister Mantashe and also Minister Pravin Gordhan in terms of doing the root cause analysis on the existing power stations so that they can be fixed. Whether we will have money to fix those power stations, that's a story for another day.
It certainly is a story for another day. Someone's got to get the money from somewhere. I want to ask you quickly, Prof, as well. I don't want to focus necessarily on the three ministries, but do you get the sense they are working together? As you say, just towards the end of your last answer, it does seem to be moving roughly in the right direction. But do you get the sense that we're still going to have some infighting? Is there infighting? The president on this channel saying that there isn't infighting between the three of them, that they are getting on. Is that the sense that you get?
Yeah, I think I agree with the president. I think it's more of I would say bad PR exercise on the side of the Minister of Electricity. I think he needs some PR people to assist him in terms of communicating the information out there. Because I think the media is making up stories because of the way he communicates the information. For instance, when he visited the power stations and then he came out and said, I've been doing root cause analysis of the power stations. And the media knows already that Minister Gordhan has already done that. Instead of him saying that I have visited power stations to understand the root cause analysis that has been done by my counterpart, Minister Gordhan, and I've engaged him and I've engaged the ESCOM board and other people. He kinds of personalizes the problem and personalizes the solutions. And through that, the media then assume that he's working alone as opposed to working with the other colleagues. And I think that is the one thing that he needs to correct when he communicates going forward. I agree with the president that they may be working together well because the president is the one who appointed them. He's the one who who gives them basically the work to do. And the work that they do is quite, there's quite a distinction between what they do. I mean, Minister Mantashe deals with the regulatory aspects. He deals with new generation capacity. Minister Godan deals with oversight on ESCOM, governance issues at ESCOM. He needs to ensure that the board is in place, the board does its work. And then himself is now supposed to deal with the one-stop shop to implement the energy action plan that was put in place before he even came into the picture. So all this is quite clear who is supposed to do what. So I don't see a conflict in terms of the work that they're supposed to be doing, and I agree with the president. They're supposed to be working together.
All right, so let me move away from the politics of this. Prof, as I say goodbye to you, a last question to you then. We're all very, very worried, quite rightly as well, what our winter this year is going to look like. You say you do think there could be a difference with the electricity minister within 18 months, but us as a country still have to get through this winter. First of all, just give me your worst case scenario. Really, how bad is this going to be? We've gone from stage 6 to stage 5. Now we're stage 3. I see top right-hand side of your screen at home. Just how bad is this going to get? Don't sugarcoat this for me.
Yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it because, one of the things that we need to do as senior academics in the country is to tell the nation the truth based on the numbers that we see. So when I look at the numbers, the energy availability vector of the coal fleet is still hovering very low. Sometimes it goes below 50%. ESCOM is doing quite a lot to push it up. The energy availability factor is supposed to be above 70% for us not to have load shedding. And that is also provided in the integrated resource plan, and we're not there yet. When I look at the breakdowns, we're still hovering about between 15,000 and 16,000 megawatts. When ESCOM fixes some of these power stations and they bring them back, some other units break down. So we've got a big problem in terms of that. The partial load losses are still high. The planned maintenance has been delayed in terms of returning some of the units back to service. So with all that I've said, we are expecting that in winter, the demand is going to shoot up to about 34 to 35,000 megawatts. And if all that I've said has not changed, we are most likely to go back to stage 8 or even stage 9 load shedding.
And that, South Africa, is probably what our winter is going to look like. Prof, thank you very much. Indeed, it's always lovely to hear from you, and I appreciate your time. Professor Sampson Mampweli, energy expert. I don't think it's a real surprise. I think many of us are expecting to have a very, very bleak winter. Stage 8, stage 9, is that where we're heading? Looks like it's a very good chance.